Hey everyone, this is Travis here at Groundbreakers to Harvesters, and I have my buddy Anthony Celia with me this morning, and we are going to talk through encouragement in the ordinary. And like we've always said, our heart for this podcast is to unpack your previous few blog posts that he has. He writes every Friday, or almost every Friday, maybe every other Friday, depending on the whims. And they're good, they're thought-provoking, you're a deep thinker. I know you're doing some Greek work right now, all that fun stuff. But what's been interesting is February's hit, and your last two blog posts are like part A and part B of like writer's block, like lack of. It was so encouraging to me, because it was like this guy like you're like, I'm disciplined, I got to do this. I got nothing. Nothing's stirring me. Nothing's freaking me out. My mind's in other places.
It's not super fun and exciting anymore.
No. It's a job.
Yeah.
It's a job. So anyways, I wanted to, so if you haven't yet, go to anthonycelia.com. You can see not only just his blog posts, but also some of the music that he's created. I think you've done some worship songs that if you want to tag into and download the sheets, I don't even know what they're called. What are they called?
Chord charts. Actually, even melody charts. I hired other people to do that.
What? Yeah. That's so nice. If you want to do that, great. Obviously, you can always support him, his mission and ministry, as he continues to serve the DFW area. And if you want to, go over to groundbreakers-to-harvesters.com, and you can support us in what we're doing too. So without further ado, why don't you recap what was going on in the last few blog posts for us?
Yeah. So when I first started, I'm like, I'm going to do it every week. And I've done it every week for several months, but sometimes life happens. And I've kind of given myself grace in that. Like, I'm not putting one out this week to whatever. No, so a few weeks ago, I was trying to put one out, and I had, I guess, quote unquote, writer's block. And I don't know if I've been writing long enough to say I have writer's block, but
I don't know if it was writer's block as much as I just got a sense of like it was a lack of inspiration, which is the entire point of this podcast. Like, this whole podcast is we have become addicted as the church to these high mountaintop inspirational moments. And we come to these Sunday morning gatherings, and for some of us, particularly in the Lutheran church, they're just routine. And we go through the same elements, and there's something, and we're like, oh, this is horrible. And yet, that's 90% of our lives. You know, and I think your heart from the very beginning is like, how do we engage and encounter God, and how do we begin to see God in these very ordinary moments when we're not overly inspired to write a song, or we're overly inspired, we're like, oh, God's amazing. It's just like,
and it's interesting, the posts that because I've had several of those where I'm like, I just got to put something out, you know, and those are the ones where I get the most response. Like, where people respond and email me. I got texts from some people that I don't even know read these things, you know?
Right.
And I'm like, they're like, don't miss what you just said of like, go be ordinary is how I ended it. And my one buddy that sent me that text, like, I'm just thinking he's got two like teenage girls, you know, who I'm sure are just like struggling of like fitting in. And my buddy that texted me, he's just like, I think he's a robot. Like, I really do. Like, you could tell him he won the lottery or his like family was murdered, and he'd be like, yes.
Are we talking about John Slayton?
No, that's I have a lot of robot friends. But
that's a shout out to you, John.
Love you,
John.
buddy. But I think I've been thinking through that, you know, because in that post, I basically was sitting in a coffee shop and just observing what was happening, and it was like completely ordinary.
You were creeping.
Yeah, I definitely was.
But it was beautiful. And as I read through it, the thing that struck me was how our engagement with God shifts over our life cycles and our lifetime. Like when you were on Captive Free or American Life
Captive Free.
Captive Free. And, you traveled around, you had vans, you did shows, you did all this stuff. And so your intimacy with God, and I think that's the key part of just having space where you can say, God, I want you to see intimacy, and I want to see into you, you know? And those seasons will look different as you age. And now you are, you got a almost 2-year-old kid, year and a half kid. And so that's changed. And so what I would love to know is, like, how have you seen your intimacy with God in the ordinary changed over the last year and a half, 2 years, as you've gone from being a married couple to now being a family with a child?
Yeah. I think intentionality is that word, definitely not as spontaneous as a person. I've never been super spontaneous.
No, you haven't.
But my time with God in the morning and throughout the day has to be a lot more intentional.
Okay.
I've had to shift other things around, to get up earlier, because that's just where I'm at, but it's made it that much sweeter, because it's like I've got to devote time to it and kind of being like, all right, I'm going to show up and be present, whether it's time with Jesus or my son or my wife. We're just trying to figure out, what do those rhythms look like of not just becoming, I've been saying this phrase lately, Tanya, I've been talking through it, and I'm like, we're not in crisis, but like two ships passing in the night, and we only have one. You have like 17, so do you have another one on the way?
No.
Okay.
A curse on you. I'm really happy with the ones that we have. We have 4 kids, and we're one's off to college now. And so, again, if you want to make any donations to the college fund, please let me know. As a church planter, not always tons of funds coming in, but anyways, it does shift over time, and I think, like we even had the conversation right now, like you have forced it into the morning because that's the only time you can control, because so much of your day relies on, attitudes of waking up and food, and does he want this food or that food, and is he going to be colicky? Is he coming down with is he cutting teeth? All of those things that are out of your control, that if you don't early on front end that kind of time, there's a good chance it ain't going to happen, And for me, it's completely opposite, because, I got a junior high kid, 2 kids in high school, and 1 kid in college. And so if I don't, so my afternoons, like from 3 o'clock till 8 o'clock are spoken for. And I put over 500 miles on my car a week.
Just driving them around.
Doing the church plant stuff, but then also like I got to get my son from school to powerlifting, and then hilarious story. So my family and I, we went to a powerlifting thing on Friday night because
those are fun.
Had you been to one?
I've been to. Those are interesting human beings.
Oh my gosh!
But I've never been to like a junior, like kids.
Okay,
that's probably even weirder.
So it was supposed to be on Thursday night, but instead it was on Friday night. So no one really wanted to be there, because who wants to be in a sweaty, stinky gym powerlifting on a Friday night, right? And these things take forever. It started at 5. We didn't roll out until 9:30, right? And and the smell in the room just continues to build, right? And these kids are wearing these special weightlifting outfits that
getting strapped into.
And their arms are all pulled out, and they've never washed them, right?
Yeah.
So imagine the worst hockey, Well, I didn't realize that. So they have 3 lifts, right? The first one, they just know they got to hit. The second one's kind of maybe a stretch, but the third one is the one that, like, normally their personal record, or they really want to try to get to. So there's a lot of fails on the last lift, right? Well, these guys, whatever it is, the deadlift, or they're doing the bench press, or they're doing squats, their entire body is fully engaged in this moment, right?
Yeah.
And again, this has nothing to do with the ordinary, except I was observing some things that I want to share with you.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the number of body fluids that were involved in this. I'm looking at one kid over on the side. He's a little guy, and he's everything. And all of a sudden, he's halfway up in his deadlift, and he starts throwing up. And then he doesn't quit. He finishes his deadlift. It is now a projectile at the judge that's judging him, right?
Epic.
And then he just sits there, and they're like, done. And he puts it down, and he walks away. He gets green lights because the lift was good, even though he puked the whole time. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is insane, right? So fast forward 5 minutes, there's another guy doing a deadlift, right? This is his second one. He's lifting it up, and all of a sudden you see blood just rushing out of his nose, right? And you're like, oh my gosh. And no one's freaking out. No one's like,
normal.
It's just normal.
Yep.
And then he went back for his third lift, and he was on the Argyle team, and now he has 2 wads of cotton stuck up his nose, right? And he pukes on his. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then the very last guy, who's like this big gargantuan guy, he's doing his final deadlift. He lifts it up, he hits it, and passes out.
You get the spins and you're done.
Oh, and he drops the weight. The guys were there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So my life is, wrapped up with taking kids to and from all of these different activities and getting dinner and everything. So, but my mornings, my days from 8 when they're out till whenever, wide open. So I have a lot of freedom there to do. I should do more important and productive stuff, but that's it. So how have you seen it change for your wife? And then ultimately the bigger question is, what are your words of encouragement for how to embrace the ordinary and not fall prey to the lie that we sometimes hear of, I don't experience God like I used to, so there must be something wrong with me.
Yeah. I mean, to Tanya and how she's experiencing it, like I can't speak for her, but that's the question in our house right now. What does that look like to be a new mom and wrestling with, do I want to go back to a career? Do I want to try to start a new career? All those things, and then being held captive by this little 18-month-old terrorist that does not know how to negotiate at all. Not at all. Use your words, buddy.
All terrorists that doesn't know how to go.
Yeah.
Wait until they get 2 and they become like a drunk midget where they just walk around randomly putting things in their mouth and they can't.
He's already, yeah. He was at the dinner table last night in his high chair just throwing a fit because he was done. I said, buddy, if you can say, may I be excused, you can get out of your thing right now. So I think we're just trying to navigate that, of just taking it day by day. But I'm by no means perfect at it all. But I just had a moment the other day where I'm watching him and he's playing. He loves trucks right now. Car. That's what he calls cars, trucks. And he's just playing with them and he rolls it back and forth. And he does this hours every single day. Just,
Right.
And I'm just sitting there in the kitchen and I'm just leaning against the door. And I'm like, I could grab my phone right now and like check my email or text or scroll or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm just going to sit here and watch him play cars, because I know everyone's telling me it's going to be gone before you know it, and it's a total cliche, like
he'll be a power lifter puking on the bar.
Yeah, look at this. He's probably not going to be a power lifter with our genes. But I'm just trying to be present in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to watch him play trucks for a couple minutes, and just watching him. And sometimes I feel bad because I don't engage. I love just that night watching him and Tanya play together. And it might look like I'm disengaged, but I'm just trying to take it in, like just watch it. And I'm trying to do that in other areas of my life, whether it's sitting in the coffee shop and just watching what's happening, or I'm at a red light and trying to I'm just going to sit here, instead of try to get another podcast or something. So, and for my personality, that's really hard.
Do you think we've lost the skill of being present?
Of being bored?
Yes, which forces creativity and forces innovation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how do we re-embrace that? Because like again, reading your blog and just seeing you pick up the minute details of what was going on around you, I was struck by, like, I can't remember the last time I went to a coffee shop and had nothing to do but just observe. Or the last time I went on a walk in anywhere and didn't have podcast going, or didn't have, like, I got to hit my marks at 3 miles or whatever, and I just meandered and observed. And I think that's part of the challenge that we have in our cultures. We've lost the skill of just being present and observing, whether it be sitting down under a tree and watching the life, whatever that is around you. We've missed that. So how do you re-embrace that? How do you think we can re-embrace that?
I'm learning as I do this, and I'm listening to, reading other people, that are talking about this. But I think that word intentionality again, of we're held captive by our phones, And for me, I call them like spiritual disciplines of, like, I'll go into the grocery store without my phone on a Sunday after church when I know the line at Sprouts is going to be from the register back to the dairy department.
What?
And I'm just going to sit there.
You're an animal.
Like, it sounds ridiculous, and I hate it, but I force myself into those things. When it's actually warm out, I like to run, and forever I always had my earbuds in, and now I run without them, and I'll go out for an hour run, and I couldn't imagine doing it with now because my head just gets, it things and pop and prayers
Right.
and talks and hearing the cars go by, or early in the morning when it's silent and it's still dark out running. Like, those are all things I've had to start that were uncomfortable.
Right.
But now they're still as uncomfortable, but not as uncomfortable. So a lot of us, I think we just want all of a sudden be like, okay with not doing anything. It's like, no, you have to practice it.
Right.
You have to practice what you're not good at. And
Right.
I'm not good at being still. I'm not good at being present. So for me, it's trying to put my phone away at a certain time at night in my office, not with my family, or
Right.
And by no means I'm not perfect at it at all. I screw it up all the time, but it's just being intentional. And instead of trying to start with everything, like, pick the one thing that you want to, okay, this is the one thing I'm distracted by all the time.
Right.
How can I minimize that one thing instead of just being like, I'm going to do all the things at once. So,
Right. As a kid of the 70s, it was TV for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so we had those rules in our family, like TV doesn't get turned
Yeah.
on until this point. TV gets turned off at this point. And for this generation, it's phones. And so I love what you're saying about, like, just have a place that your phone can go.
Yeah.
Don't use your phone for your alarm, because you're going to stay up later than you should.
Yeah.
And, it's literally $10 for an alarm.
Yeah.
And just put it by your bed and
Yep,
put
that's
your
what I
phone
do.
outside of your room,
Yeah.
so you can just
and
rest
none
and
of this
unplug.
is new. It's not like we've all seen the social dilemma. We all seen the studies, and we know how awful
Yes.
all of it. But we do it anyways because
Yeah.
it's easy and it's convenient. And are we going to choose to take the easy, convenient way, or like wage war against those things that are sucking life from us?
Right.
For me personally, the last 2 weeks, I've been off social media. Like, if I've posted a blog or something, it's because I sign in, post, and then leave. Like, I just, let's just drop this into the dumpster fire that is Facebook and see what happens, And you know what? Like, I actually, my spirit feels better. Like, I
Better.
did sign, this morning I had a couple moments, I was like, let me sign into Instagram. I was like, doesn't really do it for me. Like, it was kind of like boring.
What's amazing is once you step away from it, okay, so my wife and I have been on this journey of trying to eat healthy, real food, right? And so we don't do the snack food. And a lot of it's been inspired by you, because that's how you and Tanya live. You live really healthy, and every time we'd ever go to a conference, you're the guy eating the salad with the kale, and I'm like over there deep fried everything. I'm like, I should probably eat more like him. But
if
anyways,
churro comes by, it's over. Best practices.
dude.
Were there churros this year?
Yes.
I didn't get to go this year.
I shared the story of me having a pan of Cheetos in front of me, just like, God, just
I told
shoving them
Tanya,
down
she's
my
like,
throat.
what is this magical land you go to? Like, why can't I come?
It's so funny that you still remember that. Not my proudest moment, people. Not my proudest moment. But because we're eating healthy now, that bad food that we had grown so accustomed to, really, like, we don't enjoy it anymore. The very food we thought we enjoyed, we'll have a piece of pizza and we'll both look at each other like, wow, that was not anything what we thought it would, fast food. We haven't done fast food in a month and a half. We're like, no, I mean, it's just junk.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's what we're talking about with this technology thing. And again, taking time to just to observe the world around you, it's going to be awkward and weird, but as you engage in it, all of a sudden the noise and the craziness that you're so familiar with will actually become like fingernails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
One of the things that we did a while ago, and we haven't done it as a family, and I think it's time we do it again, is we did a digital free day. They would hate us for the first 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because they can't go on the Xbox, they can't connect with their friends, they can't be on their phone, and we're all sitting there trying to figure out what to do. And by the end of the night, we've played 3 games, and we've, and we're like, oh, we should do this again. And then it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
So I guess the encouragement in the ordinary for us is like, man, wherever you are in this journey, realize God loves you, and it's not like He's like going, oh, back in the day it was so much better, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think He's inviting us to say, find ways to just be present.
Yep.
Because I'm there. He's sovereign. He's omniscient. He's everywhere. He's omnipotent. He gets it. He's all powerful. All of them. And just be there and observe His creation and just be refueled by that.
Yeah.
And as that becomes a part of a rhythm for you, all of the noise and the things that suck life out of you, like the volume on that turns up and you're like, oh, I don't want that anymore. And it becomes like the flywheel starts to spin in the other direction, and it brings life.
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
Start where you're at.
Yeah.
and there'll be 2 steps forward, 1 step back,
Yep.
over and over. And that's why it's called grace. Lean into that, God, help me do this, and show yourself grace and show your partner or your roommates grace,
Yep.
You're all on different journeys, and just to embrace that. And if you're serious about it, when you have questions, reach out to Travis and I, and we can I'll just point you to other stuff. I won't give you my opinion. I'll say, go read this book or listen to this podcast. I'm just stealing from much smarter
One of them that
people.
I read recently that's been really good is called The Rest of God, and a
you
clever
were sharing that
title.
with me.
And it's really good. It's a really good book. So,
Yep.
that's
Or
a
The
good one.
Ruthless Elimination of Hurry
Yeah,
by
you've
John
mentioned
Mark
that
Comer, who is,
multiple times.
go read that book and it will mess
Say
with
that
you.
one more time.
The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer.
Right.
Go read that.
Get your phone, Amazon that one, grab that one for sure, because it is yeah.
And then put your phone away.
Yeah.
After you watch this on your phone, put it away.
Hey, thank you, Anthony, very much for your time and
man.
for your insights. And look forward to the next one coming up in a few weeks. God bless you guys.
God bless you.
Groundbreakers celebrate Harvester's Life. And always go to anthonycelia.com for all the latest, greatest on what he and his creative muse is doing. So God bless you guys.
I have something good for you today.